Hey guys. So, I've been working on this for a while, and I thought the best thing to do to try to make all the pieces make sense is to just think about what are the actual probabilities and maybe narrow them down, and then we can talk about each one individually, and and we can see what makes the most sense, right? And it's actually um I think we've done so far, I think we've done a pretty good job of narrowing it down. And so here's what I wanted to start with. Um, on the thumbnail for this video is the TBI um, statement. If you guys remember, when was Summer last seen? And the TBI says her mother reports last seeing her on the afternoon of June 15th at their home in the 100 block of Ben Hill Road. In order to preserve the integrity of the investigation, we will not provide any additional information regarding the timeline. So, what does that say? And to me, it screams we don't believe the timeline. And we don't either, right? So, when I was thinking about what do we know, like what do we know for a fact, right? Here's what we know. At 3:08, that picture was taken in the back of the car. And that was about 9 miles, I think, 8 or 9 miles from their house. So that picture of Summer, we don't know Summer's state of health. And that we do know that she was about 15 minutes from her house. So then you have 6:06, Mom Candace posts a Facebook picture. And the Facebook picture is deleted. It's a picture of the boys, and I think Summer's caught in it. And then at 6:26 p.m., the 911 call. So I was thinking we'll start with that, right? That's what we know. And so, hi, Callie. So if we start with that, we have a 3-hour window. So it's not that much time, right? It's not that much time to figure out how far could Summer have gotten in 3 hours and what actually happened in those 3 hours. And one thing we know is everybody's lying. Every single person that I've heard so far has been lying about something. And so, why? Why is everyone lying? I think it's self-preservation. So even if, let's say, for example, even if it was an accident and a cover-up, then everyone has to lie about what they were doing because they don't want to get in trouble for the accident. For example, Grandis. Let's say Grandis didn't even have a part in it. So why is she telling 3 different stories? There's one thing in here too that I thought was really relevant, and it was that the soda. Why did she even mention that soda? That bothers me. We see the orange soda in the back of the truck. And now you're going to listen to this statement as told by the friend. So you have to take her word for it. But she said that Grandma said this, that Summer took a sip of that soda bottle that's in the back. And Summer took a sip of that soda bottle not very long at all after that. She's feeling sick. Not long after that, Candace is calling Dawn and saying, what should we do? Should we take her to the hospital? Then she leaves with Summer, and Summer's never seen again. So that soda bottle becomes extremely relevant because what's in that soda bottle? Could it be something that could harm or possibly fatally injure a 50-pound child. And that, remember, they stopped at how many hippie houses, smoke shops, things like that, which are known sometimes to sell things that are technically legal, but it's because they're not a controlled substance and the FDA hasn't gotten a hold of it yet. So could definitely be harmful to a 50-pound child. Because it was only a gallon of milk and maybe a thing of cheese. And we even saw a picture of the back seat. Did you guys see groceries back there? I didn't. What are they putting away for a half hour? I'll tell you what, another thing we know what didn't happen. We know they didn't put groceries away for a half hour. We know they didn't plant flowers for 3 hours. So it's interesting to me that Grandis immediately puts herself sleeping in the camper, even in this story. So even in this story, I don't think, if this is the truth, I don't think it's the whole truth. She puts herself sleeping the entire time that anything criminal could have been going on. From the minute they get home, Grandis, even as she's telling this story, which she's, might be the truth or something close to it, she's completely taken herself into any criminal culpability because she went home, she went to bed. So forget about pointing the finger at her. I don't believe that either. I mean, it might be true, but it's true to me. I don't know, because I heard that before too from Crime Stories Obsessed. And I'm not sure how that came about, but I've heard that before about Grandis saying that to another person, that Candace had called Dawn and said she's not feeling well. Should we take her to the hospital? She goes to meet Dawn. Why would she tell this version right here? If this isn't true, why would she make up this entire story and then tell it to somebody? It just seems awful strange to me that this would be made up out of whole cloth. This is after, I have to rewind it to where she took a drink of that soda. So she's claiming Summer never got out of the truck at all. Remember when Candace was telling her story, her version of events that day? And the one statement that bothered me the most was how she said, in Summer, she jumped right up. Just didn't, you wouldn't have to say that, but the way she said it, like she was trying to convince, she jumped right up. Some of it might be true, but she's not saying, even here, she's holding back something. Whatever would have given herself any culpability, she's holding back. Because if your daughter is leaving with Summer because Summer doesn't feel good, and the last time you saw them both, this is the situation. Summer doesn't feel good. Your daughter is going to meet her husband to see if Summer should go to the hospital. Well, what's the alternative to taking her to the hospital? Bringing her back home. So when she wakes up to Candace screaming, Summer, Summer, where are you, Summer? I think that's when Grandis would have said, wasn't she with you? Like, what happened? And she conveniently leaves that whole part out, just as if it's just totally normal for her to be leaving in a truck with Summer and then back at the house yelling for her 3 hours later. Right. Doesn't make any sense. If she came back and told grandma, it's okay, Dawn's taking her to the hospital, why in the hell is she also screaming for Summer? She can't be doing both things at the same time. It's okay, Dawn has her. Also, Summer. Does that make sense to you guys? Not the entire thing, because I think there is some truth to that story. I don't think it's made up out of whole cloth for no reason. I just think the part where Grandis has no idea the outcome of Summer, no idea what happened after that, I think that's not true. What she's trying to do is take herself out of any criminal culpability here, out of any responsibility. So she's saying, well, yeah, Candace told me she was going to meet Dawn with Summer, and then she came back without Summer, but I didn't ask where Summer was because she told me Dawn was with Summer. Also, she was screaming, where's Summer? Summer, Summer. So, yeah, you can't have it both ways. Right. Grandis' story is that when Candace came back, she said Dawn was taking Summer to the hospital. Also, Candace is screaming Summer's name, looking for Summer. Also, Dawn, who's supposed to have Summer, is calling 911 because he can't find Summer. So if Summer went missing from being with Dawn, wouldn't Dawn know where the last place she was? Why are they looking at the house? Okay.
Boys to watch her after she got a peppermint.
Is that better?
Now, here's my theory on the whole peppermint thing.
Okay, can you hear now?
Grandis is throwing that in there, the whole peppermint thing. I think she's throwing that in there because that's historically something that she's done with Summer. She probably has a bowl of peppermint candies in her trailer or something that the kids, when they come over there, she gives them a peppermint. So that's
there you go.
What's that?
What I was saying was, here's the interview with Grandis' friend. And I hope you guys can see. I know you guys can see it now. Sorry you couldn't see that, but I hope you guys can hear it.
Well, hiding some breath, exactly. And I think that she's historically done something with those peppermints, so that comes easily. She's able to easily
it's not that.
They came back and got her. Was Hunter there when they picked her up? Okay, so after the swimming deal, and they picked her up from the hospital.
Yes.
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm going to go back to where she says she took a drink of that soda bottle. Because I think that's really important.
Summer and Candace went to the swimming hole, and they went there for a while, then went back and got her.
Okay, let's go right back to how the day began. According to you, she saw Candace put the warm school clothes on Summer?
No.
I think it's
events of the day. So Candace drops her off to have her knee looked at. She goes and picks up Hunter.
She also says here,
told you what
this is what makes it credible too, you guys. She also
went to the swimming hole.
And do you remember the name?
She's about to also say that Candace wasn't at the swimming hole. I mean, Grandis wasn't at the swimming hole, that she was dropped off at the hospital. This statement was made separately from the interview that she did, but they actually both say the same thing about her getting dropped off. And that's new, but it matches.
Name of the swimming hole again?
Oh, I don't know.
So here she's saying they dropped Grandma off at the hospital.
So they go to the swimming hole, and they're there for the duration of the time that Grandis is in the hospital having her knee looked at.
Now, if they're at the swimming hole and it's Candace and Hunter and Summer, just those three, I'm sure everybody can imagine a scenario where Candace and Hunter are not paying attention to Summer for a significant amount of time for whatever reason. Also, that would explain why, if it was an accident, at that point, you're going to want to just try to make her better without taking her to the hospital on your own. Also, CPS is coming in the next couple of days and they have an open investigation. So you don't want them to see that you've not watched your child and there's been some kind of accident. So the guilty knowledge and the cover-up could have started because of an accident, but turned into a cover-up at some point when Summer didn't get better and didn't get medical attention.
Right.
And then what? What did she say to you? What did she say to you? Did she contact Candace?
So the first scenario, so you got 3 scenarios. TBI says 2 scenarios. TBI says, number 1 is that there's foul play. Number 2 is that she wandered off on that rough terrain and she gets lost. So if you combine those 2, there's one more scenario where Summer gets lost or wanders off in the rough terrain, and then there's foul play, meaning someone close to the family with, a sick intention sees an opportunity and takes it. So if we go off of those 3 scenarios, right? And we focus in on the first scenario, which is there was, when they say foul play, I'm thinking there was some kind of accident and a cover-up afterwards. And that's just what everything points to for me. But not that the other 2 aren't possible. It's just that, okay, if we think about that, then we can focus in on what was the accident and what happened to Summer after. And you have a few suspicious things that 3 things. So you have the swimming hole Did something happen in the swimming hole? Did she ingest water? Did she go under? Something terrible happened at the swimming hole. You have that picture that does not look right. Number 2, you have the soda in the back seat. What was in that soda bottle? That's why I'm playing this interview right now, is to show you that for some reason, everyone keeps mentioning that soda and it's relevant. It's also in the picture with Summer, that orange soda. The interview that Jose recently just did, he said that Summer loved soda. You have Grandis right here is about to tell you how when Summer took a swig of that soda, Grandis turned around and said, Summer, put it down. That's warm. It makes me wonder, is it because it was warm that she yelled at her and told her to put it down? Or was there something in that soda? Also, remember, Hunter was in that back seat. So was it Hunter's? Whose soda was that in the back seat and what was in it? So that's why I was thinking the soda, or there's also the possibility when she got back to the house, if you look at that, that's just all of that hill, all that, there's a lot of dangers. That house, the staircase going down, any kind of accident could have happened when they got back to the house. So one of those 3 things, if one of those 3 things happened in the first scenario, if there was an accident, Summer isn't well, this might be true to an extent, where Candace panics and calls Dawn and says, Summer's not well. I don't know what we should do. Should we take her to the hospital? So I'm trying to find this where she talks about the soda.
No.
Okay. So there's well, I don't think she's claiming in this interview though that she was there when they went swimming. You see, I could have sworn you told me she was there. She wasn't there. Did I misunderstand that?
You must have misunderstood me, because she told me that she wasn't there. She was still at the hospital. And Summer and Candace went to the swimming hole, and they went there for a while, then went back and got her.
Okay, let's go right back to how the day began, according to Grandis's story to you. So Grandis told you that that day, Candace, and Summer took her for her knee appointment at the hospital.
Yes.
Yes,
True?
and
Okay.
her daughter dropped off at the hospital.
And then Candace and Summer went and picked up Hunter.
Right.
Okay. So they went, now I want to remind people what I'm talking about here is what Grandis told her confidant was the events of the day. So Candace drops her off to have her knee looked at. She goes and picks up Hunter, and she told you, what did Candace, Hunter, and Summer then do?
Went to the swimming hole.
And
So-
do you remember the name of the swimming hole again?
Oh, I don't. No, I don't.
So she says that here's Crystal S says, here's the thing about the soda. If there was something in it, she would have had to swig the whole thing, and it still looked mostly full, because think about it, if an adult puts something in it. I have to disagree, Crystal, because a 50-pound child, it depends what's in it. There's a lot of things that can kill a 50-pound child or make them very ill. And you wouldn't need to drink more than a sip, you know. It just depends on what was in that soda, and I hope it was tested. But
I don't know.
Okay. So they go to the swimming hole, and they're there for the duration of the time that Grandis is in the hospital having her knee looked at.
Right.
And then what? What
Then
did she say to you? What did she say to you? Did she contact Candace and say, I'm done?
No, I think Candace's name just got finished because she didn't say nothing about that. Candace called her and told her she was done.
and I just think that for some reason, why does Grandis even put it in this confession? This is a confession is what this is, if it's true. She's confessing to her friend because she has a guilty conscience, and she's saying to her friend, I wish I would have told the police the truth, but I didn't, but I need to tell somebody, and this is what actually happened. I don't know why the soda is even relevant if it's not relevant. Just a thought.
She said they came back and got her. Was Hunter there when they picked her up?
Yes.
Okay.
From the hospital. Yes.
Okay. So they all pick her up. And what did she tell you were the events, the next transpiring events?
From after they dropped Hunter off.
Well, did she drink from the soda bottle before or
Oh.
after?
Oh, you talking about okay.
When did Summer say she was feeling sick?
that's when I guess they picked up Grandma. She said she did not feel good and she was cold. I think Hunter was still in the truck then, I believe, when that
Did
happened.
Grandis tell you she saw Candace put the warm school clothes on Summer?
No,
She did not see that.
no.
But she saw Summer drink from the orange pop bottle.
She saw Summer pick up the orange, put it to her mouth, whether she drunk or not, who knows. But she yelled at Summer and told her, no, do not drink. That's been in here for a while.
And the way that she says she yelled at her and told her, no, don't drink that. I would think that just warm soda that's been sitting in there for a while, if it was just warm soda, I would think that Grandma wouldn't care. Because who cares if she takes a drink of warm soda? If it doesn't taste good, she's going to spit it out. Don't go bad. I don't think. Soda go bad? I think it goes bad. I think it just tastes bad. But anyway, she screamed at her, no, put that down.
And Summer put it down and she gave her a bottle of water.
And then at what point did she tell you that Summer conked out?
It was on the way going home and she fell asleep and just fell over on those milk jugs and was sleeping.
And it seems like almost immediately after she takes a drink of that soda, Grandma's saying she fell over on the milk jugs. It's a weird way to describe falling asleep.
Do we know, did
No.
Grandis tell you whether she was sleeping before the stop to get groceries or after? Do you recall?
It was afterwards. They'd already went to, when Candace picked her up from the hospital, they went to the store to get whatever they got. Hunter was still with them when they went to the store.
Right.
All right. After they went to the store, they went and dropped Hunter off. Okay. On the way home, Summer said, well, I don't know, but you had to be on the way home. Said she was cold and she did not feel good.
And when they dropped Hunter off, did his mother come out to the car or no?
Cats
Well,
trying to sabotage me.
Grandma told me no.
And how did Grandma, what were the words that Grandma used? And I don't mean any offense by this because
Well-
we're paraphrasing what she said, but what were the words that Grandis used regarding Hunter's mom?
She said that 2-ton did not come to the truck.
So she was emphatic. And again, I don't mean offense. I'm not
Well,
trying to be offensive. I'm not trying to mock Hunter's mother in any way, shape, or form.
Me either.
We're paraphrasing what Grandis told you about Hunter's mom, that she said to you that Hunter's mom was a liar.
Right. She said she was lying that 2-ton did not come to the truck.
everybody's lying. Everybody's lying. It just seems like not about everything, just about whatever part they had played in this, because Candace and Allie both disagree on this too. Candace says, if you remember, Candace says that Allie didn't see her and that Candace, remember Candace described Summer as being wide awake, and she insists Summer was awake when we dropped Hunter off. So I always wonder, what's she trying to convince us of? Why did she even need to say that? Why did Candace find it so relevant and so important to tell us that Summer was awake when they dropped Hunter off? And Allie, the same way, was so emphatic that Summer was sleeping when she saw Summer. Or,
No, I'll never forget that.
And and Hunter, what, just got out of the car?
Just got on the truck and went up to the house. But,
Okay.
but his mom never came to the truck.
Do you recall if Grandis said when Hunter got out of the car if Summer was passed out or not?
She was sleeping.
Okay, she said, quote, sleeping. All right, let's go with that. We'll say sleeping. She
was sleeping.
She went into a nap. Did Grandis ever tell you who put the milk jugs next to her? Did Summer do it or did they do it?
They did it. Summer didn't do it. Summer couldn't lift him up jugs.
Candace and Grandis put the milk jugs under her?
They put the groceries in that truck, so I guess so.
But I mean, to put milk jug, why not put them down under her feet? I guess
Why
is where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and if that's where they put the groceries, where's the rest of the groceries?
why
Right.
not put them under her feet? Why not put them in the truck bed? Why not put, like, why next to her with her face up
It's-
against the cold?
It is
I
strange.
don't know about you, but if you're overheating and you put something cold next to you, it's actually painful.
Right. Especially if you're already cold too. You shouldn't put them milk jugs up there.
No, so
What it seems like is that I agree. Something was wrong with it. Could have been, I'd say like it was, because I have no idea, but it could have been that Summer's body temperature was very cold or very hot, and that would signify that something was shutting down in her body, right? And so they were either trying to warm her back up with that full jumpsuit they put on her or cool her off with the milk. And it could have been both, right? I mean, they could have been trying to do one and then the other. That's so funny that you say that, because that's what I was thinking. Whenever two people, when their statements don't match like that, I have to imagine that it's somewhere in the middle. So she says, Allie finally admitted that she didn't see Summer when H was dropped off. Candace drove off quickly. That's what I was thinking, that most likely Summer was sleeping and Candace was lying about Summer being awake, but also Hunter, when he was dropped off, Allie didn't see Summer, just assumed that Summer was still sleeping. And that's what I was thinking. They're both lying, right? And so, yeah. So, and here's another thing that I was thinking. So it could have been the soda. Something was in that soda. And let's say it immediately knocked her out. Everybody saw that she wasn't well. And they go back to the house, take the milk out, call Dawn, and Candace takes her to meet Dawn. And so that would have been, I'm just saying, like, let's go with each scenario and imagine, just to see where it would lead us to where Summer would be right now, if that is the case. If it was a drowning at the swimming hole, if it was the soda, if this was the scenario, right? Where would Summer be? So if they left at 3:15 at the max, that's the earliest they could have left. That's 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And if they drive towards Dawn work, which is where Summer, she claims she was heading. Yeah, absolutely, Brandy. Because think about, they had an open CYS investigation. Everybody knows that Candace, at the very least, loved those boys, favored them, whatever you want to say. Candace, for some reason, was more attached to the boys. And if something bad happened to Summer, her mind might have immediately went to self-preservation for those boys. I don't want to lose my boys too. And I could see her calling Dawn to say, what can we do if we report this? CYS already has an open investigation. If this happened under our watch, if it's an illegal substance, we're going to lose our other children. So we need to, Dawn's criminal mind might have, because you can tell that he was, in every interview, he would put his arm around her and say, this is what she needs to say. This is what she's trying to say. He likely knows if something like that happens. Or let's see, Crystal S says, here's something I saw. I think it was Spirit Squad, but they showed the original pic in the original video released by Unmasked. Candy looks almost white and looks like it had a filter. Yeah, they're all lying. So I think, like, and remember, you guys remember the behavior panel when they did their analysis of his interview, and they decided that Candace had guilty knowledge. And now think about the interview room when they analyzed the statements, and you have Steve Johnson, who was saying that Candace has guilty knowledge. Two completely independent specialists who do this for a career. And there's just so many things, right? I was thinking about when they first reported Summer missing, the poster they gave, the picture, Summer had a shaved head. The first thing they did was give a picture of Summer in a beautiful dress with beautiful hair and a smile on her face. And that was the picture that the TBI had for like 15 hours. That's what we all thought we were looking for. If Summer was truly missing, I'm not saying that she's not, but I'm saying imagine if Summer was truly missing, wouldn't the first thing, if you thought someone abducted her, wouldn't the first thing you do to say to the police, listen, my child, my daughter has a shaved head. She can be passed off as a boy. What you're looking for is someone that has a boy or a girl because her hair's shaved and they can be disguised as a girl. That was the very first thing that happened when they put out that picture. It took 12 hours and then the TBI had to give a correction. This is what we're looking for. Actually, it was the next day. Oh, thanks, Crystal. What if it wasn't Candy at all? You mean like what if she overdosed on, what if she took some pills, maybe found some pills and overdosed? It's possible. I think that's extremely possible that she found some kind of chemical because that's what that life is about. There was chemicals all around those kids all the time. It's very possible that that happened. And if that did happen, you can also see the parents saying self-preservation, we have to cover this up. Can't They are criminally responsible in some sense, and because of that guilty knowledge and culpability, they had to cover their own butts. The most important thing is protect self. Probably they do love Summer, probably, if this is the scenario. But if it's too late to save Summer, now what do? We save self, and we protect self, and we protect the boys. We want to keep the boys. Whatever did happen, they have some criminal culpability. And if that's the case, even if it's an accident, because the accident is because of a long period of neglect where Candace is busy, right? Candace is busy with Hunter at the swimming hole or when they get home for that 3 hours, not watching Summer. And Summer is left unattended for a long period of time where something bad happens to her. So if you think, well, if that's the scenario, oh, I just need 19 more subs. That's nice. If you think, oh, that's sweet, you guys. Thank you. If you think that's the scenario, then you have to know that, boy, I lost my train of thought there for a second, but yeah, if Summer wandered off and you have to say, well, if the parents aren't criminally culpable, if they hadn't done anything to her, and if it wasn't an accident and if it wasn't covered up, if she's truly missing, why are they lying? Well, it's because they did something that they're criminally culpable for by neglect. Because Candace wasn't watching her for a long period of time where something happened to her and she has no idea when she went missing, how she went missing, because Candace was doing something else that was illegal, also neglect, not watching her. And to preserve self, first thing that she would do, call 911, which is what the 911 came in as when she reported it, what did she say? I was just out for 10 minutes and I came back and my daughter's gone. We never heard that story again, though. We never heard after that from Candace. We never heard the 10 minutes. It turned into 2 to 10 minutes, and it turned into this whole, it turned into this whole big story that was completely different than the 911 call that came in. But if in the split second she realizes, oh, Summer's gone, I better call in and report her missing, what am I going to say? Am I going to say I have no idea where she's been for the last 3 hours because I was doing some drugs with a teenager or something? I'm not saying that that's what happened, just saying as an example, it could have, right? Even if she had nothing to do with the disappearance, she can't say what actually happened because it's more important to protect herself from any criminal culpability than it is to tell the actual truth about how long Summer's been gone and where she could possibly be. Knowing that if she admits, say, that she hadn't seen Summer for hours, then someone would say, you shouldn't have children. We're going to take your other children, which is ultimately what happened. Thank you, sweetie. Yeah, so I was thinking, so likely, It's one of those things. And that's just my personal opinion. But if you go through those scenarios, to me, what makes the most sense is, okay, it was an accident. One of 3 accidents probably that we've been hearing about: the soda, the water hole, something at the house. That staircase is very scary. I don't like that staircase. And all of the lies. I mean, the one thing that we do know is that everyone's lying about this 3-hour period. No one wants to say what actually happened. So I was thinking, if we want to know where Summer is, we would look at, if we were looking at scenario 1, right? Because even TBI says that it's very unlikely that a stranger abducted Summer. Even if you say, okay, it was an abduction and it was by someone that's close to the family, but not the family, and the parents are lying because they weren't watching her and they should have been, how far could she have gotten in that 3-hour window? And I was thinking, well, if it was an accident and she took Summer to meet Dawn, that's 45 minutes. So say she got there at 4:15. Well, she has to be back to call 911 at 6:26. So it's about 2 hours. And so you say, well, you have to split it in half because Dawn has to go whichever direction Dawn goes from Dawn's work with Summer. He has to get back to his work to call 911. Because remember, Dawn also called 911. There were 2 calls to 911. Why 2? Does someone need to prove where they're at? Is it one of their 7 alibis? Does Dawn take Summer somewhere and then come back and then call 911 and then Candace's cue to call 911 at the same time? At 6:30? I wonder. So where could Dawn have gone? Well, he had 2 hours. If you start with the premise that Candace got there with Summer, Candace got to his work with Summer, even if she left, if we give her the most time, and we say she left at 3:15 or whatever, as soon as they got there, they pulled back out, then she would get there about 4:15, 4:15, and then he's got an hour to get somewhere, and he has to be back in an hour because he calls 911 at 6:30. Does anyone know why Critical K was saying it was 5:30? I've never heard that before, but I'm not sure why she said that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that concrete floor, but it's just such an enclosed, tiny space. And then little kids, they run downstairs. And I just thought, but I don't see Summer going down those stairs anyway. I just don't. It looks scary to me. It looks like somewhere that a child would not want to be, especially if she has brothers upstairs playing and watching TV and stuff, and she was always following them around, wanting to do what they were doing. I don't see her going downstairs by herself to play with some toys that I didn't see, but that's just, so, but I mean, yeah, it's possible. It's one of the accidents that could have happened at that house. Dawn says 5:30. Okay. Brandy says it's because Dawn says 5:30. He did say, I know he was confusing 5:30 with 6:30 when it came to what time he arrived home. I remember him saying that. He was saying, well, I thought it was 5:30, but they told me it was 6:30. And so that 5:30 time is pretty significant to him. But we know it wasn't 5:30 because you have several people, like the 911 call at 6:30, but you also have Jody Sue saying that her husband got home from work that day at like 5:45, and she was at the end of the road meeting him, and he got there about the same time as the police. So doesn't really make sense. Not He usually got home at 5:30, but he was late. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting that time mixed up myself. Yeah, the dungeon. That's exactly what it reminds me of. And that's not really an exaggeration. It's very disturbing. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious what you guys think. That's why one of the reasons I wanted to do this is I wanted to put, I wanted to see what you guys thought too. But I personally think that it was one of those, Lily. Like, I personally think that it was one of those. I'm not sure which one because there's things that make me think that it was an accident at the swimming hole, and then there's things that make me think that it was that soda bottle in the back seat. Like, I can't. Everyone puts that in the story as if it's important, so I just can't get that. And I remember the stops to the hippie houses. Remember, there was 2 stops, 2 different ones. So if no one's watching Summer, it's just as likely that she has an accident in the water that she does to pick up a soda bottle that has, could be really anything, because I know that those smoke shops, they sell a lot of things that become illegal later, but they're designer drugs. And what happens is people will come up with a chemical that is very similar to meth or heroin, and they'll sell it in packages as a different thing. For example, I remember they did this with something called bath salts, and they gave it to these smoke shops, and these smoke shops were selling these bath salts, and people were just buying them there was no regulation, nothing. And people were out on the streets, running down the streets naked. It was basically meth, but it was somebody made it in a lab to make money off it and packaged it as something different. And because it had like one different chemical in it, they were able to do that without the FDA regulation. By the time FDA caught on to that, people were seeing, creatures crawling on their ceilings and biting each other's faces. I remember all kinds of crazy stories. Anyway, that's the kind of thing they sell in these smoke shops until they get in trouble for it or it gets regulated, and then they'll try something else. So it really could be anything in that soda bottle, or it could be nothing, right? What he said. What's that? What did Andy say? Let's see. I worked at a smoke shop for 9 years. We got raided. Yeah, and Hadu quit selling it. I hated it. It was dumb, but it was K2 and not best. That's another one I heard about, K2, right? And I think that makes people doesn't make people like hallucinate and stuff like that too. It's just I'm not sure, but yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And somebody, well, what's the thing they get off marijuana now that they sell that's illegal? Like, it is legal to sell, but it's not the THC. It's the other. It's the other thing. Not the THC, but they sell it everywhere now. It's for adults. It's not illegal. But I remember Crime Stories Obsessed called this specific smoke shop and asked them if they sold this thing, CBD. Thank you, Dan. So, thank you. So, it's CBD. So, Crime Stories Obsessed called the smoke shop and asked them, do they sell CBD to put in soda? It's in a powder, I think in a packet, or it's already in the soda, one of the two. Oh, okay, it's in the packet, and then they sell the soda there also. So you can mix it in the store, but before you even walk out. So, yeah. So, I mean, how far-fetched is it that they stopped there, got some CBD? I don't know how dangerous CBD is for children, but I imagine whatever they were getting for themselves could have definitely harmed a 50-pound child. She was a very small, 50 pounds, I think. Very small. Do you guys believe Jody Sue? Says, yeah, Crystal, I don't know if I believe it with Jody Sue. Because my opinion of Jody Sue's story is everything that you hear, you have to take with a grain of salt. I don't think she's lying, but I don't think she can remember things in the proper order. So I don't know how credible her information is, just because I think she's trying to make things make sense, and I think she's trying to be honest. But I found an old interview that she did with WJHL, and I'll play it if you guys want me to. But that interview, the timeline she gave is completely opposite than the timeline that she gave. You know what? I'm going to play it. But I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm just saying that I don't think that she remembers things, and I don't think you can rely on the information that she gives in the timeline. The only reason I was saying about her husband getting off work is I think that that's the one thing that she's said that hasn't changed. Okay, so it's in my, hang on a second, I was debating on whether to play, because I thought, well, I don't want it to seem like I'm calling her a liar, because I don't think she's doing it on purpose. I think she's trying to tell the truth and trying to remember information, but don't think. See if I threw it in here. Is it in this one? Is it in this one? Just give me 1 second. I'll find it. Yeah, she just, okay, here it is, you guys. Hang on. Let me pause it while I share my screen. So this was back at the very beginning. Okay, here we go. And I thought, because she just came out with, she was on Tiffany Marie's show, and she was saying that her timeline that she remembers now is that she heard a Suburban, and the things that she was saying were almost completely opposite. Oops. Want to do that? I want to share the screen. They're almost completely opposite from what this. Okay, I think it's this one. Yeah, okay. It's only 3 minutes long.
Lives across the street.
Can you guys hear that?
Property on mirroring mountains
I
together.
hope you guys
They
can
can
hear
be
that.
described as sentinels, which sit high over Ben Hill Road. The night Summer went missing, the neighbor swears that she and her 2 children heard a scream shortly before they joined the search for a now missing Summer Wells.
It's there, but you want to forget.
On the watch and hypervigilant.
And,
That's how Jody Sue Brown was the very day Summer Wells went missing.
There was no TV, no noise at all.
Jody Sue was in her cabin with her teenage kids, 19 and 14, waiting for anything.
We were kind of hyper alert because of property things that had happened the day before. So we were listening for noise. Everything was kind of quiet.
The sale brought a plethora of people to their door, confused about which piece of land was for sale, leading to a dispute of property lines.
While we were out at one point doing survey lines, and there was a flash of a car that went up Candace and Donnie's driveway. Something about it struck me wrong.
She and her family next heard a truck door slamming and dismissed it as their neighbors. The next sound was harder to justify. About an hour and a half before Summer is thought to go missing, Jody Sue, her son, and her daughter heard something far more suspicious. A scream.
Stopped all 3 of us cold.
Her daughter was the
Okay,
first
so
to
that
go to
would've
the
been
cabin
5
door.
o'clock.
Then all 3 were there, listening still.
We heard just this kind of shrill, almost animalistic scream.
Animalistic, but not an animal.
Knew it was, wrong It wasn't a dog. It wasn't an animal.
That vigilance kicking into overdrive. Jody Sue and her son went out to look for the source of the scream.
My son and I decided to go out, look and see what we could see. We went back onto the bank. Didn't see
That's
anything. Didn't hear anything.
They went on with their evening. The kids returned to being kids. Jody Sue headed down her driveway around 6 to tend to flowers.
And at this point, I start hearing Candace hollering for Summer. And then my brain immediately went, scream earlier, this, uh-oh.
Jody Sue was the first to hear those calls and the first to join the search for Summer.
I dropped my purse. I tried to yell up at Candace. I was like, I'm looking, and I started looking.
Jody Sue searched one side of a creek, Summer's brothers the opposite side.
And you gave statements to the police, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Jody Sue had been interviewed many times by investigators, bringing up the scream often. But the sheriff doesn't believe the scream is related to the disappearance of Summer Wells.
She's been interviewed numerous times by not only my agency, but the TBI and FBI, and we don't find anything with that complaint or information related to this case.
Jody Sue wishes she could go back to just a short time before Summer disappeared and before the scream she believes was Summer.
I wish every day that when I heard that scream, I hadn't tried to dismiss it.
Referencing the word.
so, yeah, that's a really good. I just saw someone comment. I think it was Kaden. Yeah, I wish she would too. We would probably get a lot of information if she would try hypnosis. Not only would she remember it, she would probably go back through it. Like, some people are really good at hypnosis. I've seen some really good ones where they can just bring them back to that moment. Yeah. Everybody's saying, yeah, that's a really good idea. Have you said that? Have you said that to her? I mean, I wonder if anyone's ever said it to her, or did you just say it? Did you just say it? Because I wonder if somebody could get that message to her. Because I don't think but if you guys heard that timeline, she seemed so matter of fact there that she's like, okay, I heard the scream, I heard the truck door slam, and then we came out and then we searched, and it just didn't match at all to what she's saying now. But she seems so matter of fact now that I think she's just getting things mixed up the longer time goes on. Our brain starts to fill in things that weren't really there. Interrogate these people. I think they try. I think that's why you heard Lawson saying that they're not cooperating, because what else would you need the parents to cooperate about? I think they wanted to interrogate them, and somebody said, I want a lawyer, or both of them, right? Because Lawson came right up there the next day, the same day they did the search. At the beginning of that search that morning, FBI said at the press release, parents are cooperating. We've been there every day, and they're cooperating. By the next day, Lawson put out a tweet on his Twitter, and it was a video of him saying the parents are not cooperating. They've gotten lawyers, or they've lawyered up. The only thing I can think that means is that when they did that search, they also tried to question the parents, and they said, no, thank you. I'll take a lawyer. And then remember when Candace did her Q&A with the friend? You remember that Q&A? Something that struck me is when somebody asked her 25 minutes in about Summer, she said, I'm not going to be discussing the case. That's not what we're doing here. Why is she calling Summer a case? Anybody know why she's calling Summer a case? Unless that's how she thinks of it in her brain. Oh, thank you, Crystal. That's so sweet. I love you. Thank you. And so when she was doing an interview the next day on Benny's, I made a video about it. She was on Benny's panel the next day, and she said, Benny said at the end of it, he said, "We're just going to end this interview because someone said, Benny, I'm praying for you and I wish you would focus on Summer." The whole point of that interview was to refute what Jose had said when Jose was making accusations about them being bad parents, basically. That whole thing was. So they needed to do some PR, they needed to do some damage control, and they wanted to do an interview just to refute those specific things. And when someone said, I wish you would focus on Summer, he got so mad. He said, I'm ending the live stream because you guys aren't being nice to my friend. Very strange. It was very strange. You think about if it was your child missing, would you want to talk about her? Would you want other people talking about her? Would you be the one? So think about this. All of us right now, there's 22 people right now here, and we're saying, what happened to Summer? Let's talk about what happened to Summer. Let's talk about what could have possibly happened to Summer. Why isn't her mother doing that? Is it because she knows? Do you think? I wonder. Because we aren't Summer's mother, but we want to know. We're thinking about it all day, every day. I am. I don't know why. What happened to this little girl? Why does it make her so angry that she stops the interview and says, we're not discussing that case? Yeah, I think you guys basically are agreeing with me because it doesn't sit right with anybody. Most of you guys, the women in here, even the men, if you guys are parents, all of you guys are thinking the same thing. And think about Monkey, his mom. Could you imagine her doing an interview where she said, we can talk about my coffee and we can talk about what activities I like, but don't anybody bring up the case. It's very strange. And do you guys remember that video that Michelle Walks did where she said, let's put the theories to bed about which I really like Michelle Walks, by the way. I think she's got really good information and I really respect her. I love watching her videos. But she did a video and it said, let's put it to bed, the theory about Summer Summer's body was moved or there was a drowning accident. Can we put the drowning, can we put the pond theory to bed? And I listened to that video, but the whole way through it, I thought, but that's not right. But that's not right. But that's not right. Because I don't think that we can put that to bed at all. I think that's still as likely as anything. Maybe more likely. She said that water's shallow. And then she showed the video of her playing in the water. So how long is that video? Like about 3 seconds? What happened the rest of the time? And if she did, like maybe take her eyes off Summer for a second, Summer's only 3 feet tall. How deep does the water have to be for there to be an accident? Kids can drown in bathtubs. It's not. That was a gigantic lake for that little girl. You saw it up to her neck, even in that video, every couple of seconds. She was dipping down. She was walking out to the edge of it, standing up, and it was up to her neck. So I don't think there's any reason that something bad couldn't happen in that deep water if no one was watching her. And I think that they were being alone from what we know of Candace in her relationship with the teenager that was with her. It's very likely that they went, okay, Summer, you go play. Go occupy yourself. We're going to do grown-up things, right? It's also very likely that there was something in that soda and Summer took a drink of it. It's also very likely that she fell down something dangerous in those dangerous stairs, that dangerous house, and that dangerous hill. But what happened after that is that now they have to cover it up, because what we know is that no one told the truth after that. Yeah, she is. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's another thing. They asked, when did she call the cops? And she said, they know my number. I think December or something like that. If I'm right, I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly, so don't. But yeah, Candace maybe never called law enforcement to say, have you have any updates? You have any news? That tells me she already knows. To me, not that she did anything, but that she knows. She's not trying to find the answer from law enforcement. That tells me that she already knows what the answer is. Because if it's your child, you're not going to stop until you have the answers. You're going to be asking everybody, especially the people that are in charge, and it's their job. It's their job in life to find out what happened to your child. And they are the only people with the resources to do so. If it's your child and you don't know the answer, you're going to be calling to ask them what they have, what they know, what they figured out, what their plan is. So, yeah, shutting people down. Remember people going out there to search? And well, not the people that were out there to just harass them and get them fired and stuff like that, but people that actually wanted to go out there and have you guys even seen them organize the search, ask people to help look, or talk about what they thought could have possibly happened? Remember when she was on the Dr. Phil show and he said, do you know anyone? Is there anyone in your life who could have possibly taken Summer, or is there anyone you can think of that comes to your mind that might have done this? And her answer was no. That's it. No. Knowing the kind of lifestyle that they lived, knowing the kind of people that they had over, knowing the kind of neighbors that they had, there's no way in hell that she can't think of one person that might have done that. How do you explain that? Let me ask you something. If it were you and Dr. Phil asked you that, you had a national audience, if it were me, I would have started my list. I would have said, anybody, because that's what you're going to think. Who could have possibly done this? Who could have taken her? This is where you should look. I micromanage, so I probably would have been calling them every day too, law enforcement, and saying, have you looked here? Have you talked to these people? She just said no. No one in her life she could possibly think of would have anything to do with that. I think law enforcement knows much more than they're saying. And don't feel hopeless, you guys, because, and I'm not saying that it's going to be the answers that we want, but in these kind of cases, remember Orrin Olsen, the little boys from Cal City, Orrin and Orson. Okay. It took a year. And I thought, I don't know about you guys, but I was thinking, like, did they forget about these little boys? Why aren't we hearing anything? Why aren't we seeing developments? Why aren't we seeing searches? Why aren't these parents arrested? Because we know damn well they're lying. And then sure enough, a year later, almost exactly, they arrested the parents. And I was like, thank God. So I think that's about how long it's going to take for us to get some answers. But I do think they have more answers than people think they have. Like, I think we are going to get some answer, even if it's not what we wanted to hear. As long as we bring Summer home, it doesn't, whatever, wherever she is, we need to know. We need to know what happened. You know, Candace, it's not good enough. It's not good enough if you know, or if it's too late to bring her back alive. It's not good enough. We need to know. And no one's going to stop until we do know. We're not going to stop asking questions. So, you know, if I'm here every week until, I guess, I don't know, forever, I'm going to be saying, well, this is what we heard this week. Some guy popped up and says he's Jose. Is he Jose? Do you guys think? I don't know. The cornbread mafia. I don't even know what to say about that. Why the cornbread mafia? What in the world? You've got Dawn taking trips across the border to Mexico, which, to be honest, you guys, I was looking at how many times Dawn got in trouble before that. And then knowing his criminal past and then knowing his ties with law enforcement, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a informant for law enforcement. And when he did that live stream and he said that he went to, where did he go? He said he went somewhere and he was giving out drugs, like $2,000 worth of drugs, just to show the police that he that he had the money for drugs and he wouldn't sell his daughter for drugs, something like that, right? So that wasn't Jose. Is that, I know there's an argument, like I'm not sure. That's why I didn't really go through his 5-hour interview, because I don't even know if that's Jose. Like, who is that? It might be. Is it? I don't know. None You Biz says, no, not Jose. And Crystal S says, I think Jose is telling the truth. He's just bad with time like the rest of them. Drug heads aren't great with time. Correct. I agree. But is it Jose? Like, why are some people saying that it's not Jose? Is that, I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but. Hi, Tiffany Marie. Tiffany would know. Tiffany, is it Jose? None of Biz says it was Jose. Tiffany, was that Jose that had on there, or is it still debatable? Yeah, Tiffany Marie, I love her. I'm just gonna leave that there. So I don't know if that was Jose. I'll tell you this. He told that story to make himself sound in the best light that he possibly could. In every situation in that house where he put himself, he was a hero. If that was Jose, I believe 25% of what he said, because no one is ever the good guy in every single situation. And because he didn't make himself out to be, well, look, we were all drinking and this is what happened. It was always, well, they were drinking, and they were fighting and they were treating the kids terribly. But yeah, what about you, Jose? How come you're the only good guy in the whole house the entire time? Actually, what are you doing in that house? You just showed up there, drifted up on the shore, and like a message in a bottle, somebody took you in, said he was paying rent. I don't believe that. I don't believe he was paying rent. I believe that he decided that if he cooked and cleaned, that would be his rent. And he was taking advantage of Candace for whatever milking he could get. And then when Dawn showed up and put his foot down, the party was over, right? Sure is, Tiffany. But I love that Tiffany Marie every day is going to be there for Summer, talking about what we know, talking about where she is, what happened. That's what, that is what this community is for. And so I know that Candace wants to just brush it under the rug and not talk about. You have Benny Keys and Candace saying, "Well, we're just not going to talk about that case." Yeah, we are. We are. We sure are going to talk about it, and we're going to focus on it, and we're going to focus on Summer. So, listen, I love you guys. Thank you for coming to hang out with me, Tiffany. You are so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm gonna keep talking about her. I know you guys are too. So till we get some answers for Summer, or till we bring her home. Let's see. He said some pretty disgusting things about Candace with, yeah, and and that kind of stuff is like, okay, maybe, yeah, they did. They were pretty gross. They did some pretty gross things. There was lots of accusations in there, right? But every time it was him, he's like, "Aw, thank you." Every time it was him, he's like, "Oh, but I was the hero. I told Dawn you're not going to shower with her anymore because I'm here." I told Dawn, I laughed so hard, Tiffany. Oh my gosh, Tiffany had me rolling when she did Dawn's voice, and Jose and Dawn and Jose said, "Dawn, you're not going to tell me to leave because Candace said I could stay." We all know damn well that didn't happen. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought too, because nobody was saying the voice wasn't his. So if it is him, I'm listening to it and I'm like, I just can't. It makes me sick when you hear someone tell a story, but they change every situation to where they have no responsibility. They did nothing wrong. They're the hero in the story. It's not true. That's why I was laughing so hard when Tiffany read that and said, that didn't happen. Dawn said, "You're going to get out." And he said, "No, I'm not, because Candace said I could stay and you're not the boss of me." Yeah. He came home, said the party's over, and now you have 9 months later, he comes forward to tell this story. Do you think that he didn't hear about this for 9 months? Like, how probable is that? Or I wonder how much they paid him for that interview. How much do you guys think, if it is the real Jose, how much do you think they paid him for that Saint Jose? Exactly, Dan. Saint Jose. I think that's what we'll name him. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that one too. Yeah. He made himself real tough when he said she knew I was serious because I was, Grandis. What happened is she felt his seriousness and just fainted on the floor. He hadn't even touched her. It was the vibration that made her faint. He tried to make himself chest bumping her at the same time as not actually touching her. So it was a pretty funny scenario. Where, oh gosh, I just can't. So yeah, Saint Jose. All right, guys. I love you. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. See you later. Tiffany, right? I keep trying to go tuck my kid in. Tiffany chest bumping and his hands in his pocket. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, his hands in his pocket. So you guys know, he wasn't using his fists. She knew he was serious because he had his hands in his pocket, but he had a rock hard chest. Thank you. I love you guys. I'll see you later. I love Summer too. We all do. And we're not going to stop talking about her. That's all. Till we find her.